Seopyeonje, Lee Cheong-jun, born in 1939 in Jangheung, Jeollanam-do, was one of the most significant writers in modern Korean literature. He explored themes of human nature, art, and historical suffering with profound depth, and his works are known for their philosophical and introspective storytelling. Debuting in 1965 with the short story, The End of the Exile, he went on to publish many acclaimed works, including The Idiot and the Fool, The Story of Insects, and Seopyeonje. His novel Seopyeonje captures the beauty and suffering of traditional Korean pansori, depicting the conflict between art and life, tradition and modernity, with delicate precision. The novel gained widespread recognition, especially after it was adapted into a 1993 film. Directed by Im Kwon-taek, Lee Cheong-jun's writing is known for its poetic language, philosophical themes, and intricate portrayal of inner human conflict and social realities. Although he passed away in 2008 due to lung cancer, his works remain an invaluable part of Korean literature, continuing to inspire deep reflection and emotion in readers. A lone man arrives in a remote mountain village. His destination is an old, abandoned thatched roof. House haunts the home of traveling pansori singers. The worn-out tiles and dust-covered yard bear the marks of time. The man sits down and exhales a deep sigh. This place is more than just a location to him. It is the place of his childhood, the turning point of his life. As memories resurface, he murmurs softly, "Does the sound still remain here?" Thus begins the story, a journey into his past. As a child, I wandered from place to place with my father. He was a renowned pansori singer, and by his side was my stepsister Song-hwa. I grew up listening to their singing as we traveled, their voices, often serving as the only solace against hunger and exhaustion. Under my father's strict guidance, Song-hwa became a skilled singer, but his teaching was relentless more than mere instruction. It was as if he was forcing her to embody suffering itself in her voice. I often feared my father and pitied Song-hwa. One day, he said to us in a grave voice, "True sound is born from suffering. You must understand this." At the time, I did not fully grasp his words. As we continued our wandering life, my father's obsession deepened. His training for Song-hwa became increasingly harsh. Even without a grain of rice to eat, she had to sing until her throat bled. One day, in a bustling town, we encountered a fellow pansori, Singaran, old acquaintance of my father. Recognizing my father's talent, he said, "You are not teaching music. You are teaching pain." If Song-hwa is to truly master pansori, she must experience more than just suffering. But my father refused to listen. Instead, he pushed Song-hwa even further. Then one day something changed. She became unusually quiet. Her eyes held a deep sorrow, and when she opened her mouth to sing, no sound came out. That was when I finally understood. Song-hwa had lost her sight. My father began frequenting the mountains, searching for medicinal herbs, but he could not cure her blindness. Instead, he simply said, "Now she can finally achieve true sound." I could not comprehend his reasoning. How could blindness be a gift for music? Yet Song-hwa accepted her fate without resentment. If anything, her voice became even deeper and more sorrowful after losing her sight. Whenever she sang, I felt something indescribable. It was no longer just music, but the essence of human fate itself. One day I could bear it no longer. My father was growing old and frail, and Song-hwa seemed resigned to her life. But I could not accept this destiny. I felt the need to forge my own path, and so I left them behind. I knew it would hurt Song-hwa, but I believed it was necessary. She did not try to stop me. Instead, she simply said, "Go. But wherever you go, never forget the sound." I could not respond. Decades passed. Now I had returned to this mountain village. Everything had changed. My father had long since passed away. And Song-hwa? No one knew what had become of her. Then an old villager led me to her. She was still there. She was still singing. Her blind eyes never opened, but her voice carried all the pain and beauty of life. I sat silently and listened. At that moment, I finally understood the meaning behind my father's words. True sound is born from suffering. Songhua had lost her sight, but in return, she had gained a voice that carried everything. Her song drifted through the mountains like the wind, embracing the world, and I could not hold back my tears. That night, for the first time in years, I hummed along. And at last, I realized I too had found my path. Seopyeonje is more than a story about music. It is a tale of life itself. It portrays the transformation of suffering into art, the struggle between tradition and personal freedom, and the power of human resilience. Songhua's sacrifice, my father's obsession, and my wandering journey intertwine, creating a deeply moving narrative. And in the final scene, Songhua's voice is no longer just music. It is her entire life, immortalized in sound.